Yep, I just got noise on there. It's a bit behind, so.
You caught me flat-footed on this. Um, I've been out of the house half of the day, so I missed a bunch of my emails anymore. The I have received from Terry Stiggy the links for the speakers that he was trying to round up, um, and you know the who'ses and the whatses, if you will. It looks like there are three to five people that are definitely interested in doing seminars, but having only just recently received the link out of the Google Docs that he was recording everything in, I really have not yet started to inform them of the shift of me trying to pick it up where he was going with it. So, I mean, that is information. It's not great news, but at least I have the names of the people that he's contacted, and I will iterate again if there is anybody that you would specifically like to hear talk about something, or if you would like to put something together to make a presentation. Oh, and I have L. Curtis Boyle right in front of my screen right now. Um,
Yoza.
just if you want to put some words together, let me know. Send me an email at tonypedraza@gmail.com, and we can pick it up from there. That's not picking on Curtis. It's just that his face is the biggest one on my screen right now. Because
You walk further away.
everybody here, yeah, just about everybody here tonight has been, involved in development of something over the past 29 years. Uh, and I've seen in data going back and forth that there is even um somebody who's using the um, Glenside IDE setup to do a backup of another drive. So,
That
it's
Bill?
like, it was you were mentioning that, Gent. It was it's something that Glenside did 20 some years ago, and finally got it out there, and people that have written drivers for it. Oh, that was you.
Yeah, it was. Well, second version.
Come on, I'm 69 years old next month. My brain is semi-functioning these days. But if there's anything that anybody wants to say, let me know, and we'll start hashing out a schedule. I'll probably have to tap Brian Gore to see how he did some of that. Because in all seriousness, Brian's been doing the scheduling for that for about the past 3 or 4 years, and John Linville did it for 1 year. So scheduling the seminars was not my...
I did it for about 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. See, I told you got a slack brain. Anyway, let us know and see if we can't get something cool going together on the seminars. In terms of, I don't know if I have not been seeing information or not digesting it, but I still do not know. And Jim, I know you've been working on this a little bit, somewhat, about what is the Saturday night family dinner actually going to cost the club. And I am still understanding, falsely or hopefully, that somehow it's tied in with a reduced pricing based upon some numbers, either in registering for rooms for the Cocoa Fest. How I don't know how that's supposed to work, and is coming through. Yeah, as it accrues and gets closer. I mean, we have time, and I like to have the hard costs come out as soon as we know what they are, so I can plug them into the spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet for 2021, just so you know, Bob and I have been bantering back and forth a little. What we did is that we took the 2020 spreadsheet and just copied it and renamed it to 2021, because all the funds that came in for 2020 have been held in escrow for the show to go on this year. So there's really no change in any of the categories or personnel names or anything. So as the officially elected officers request that information, if you don't have it, let me know. And, you can see where we're standing as of this moment in terms of known costs and known deposits against those costs and who is there. So it's spread out all over the world on a spreadsheet, and there are cross links from cell to cell in Excel. But if there's any questions, and if you know anything about Excel, you can find your way around. How come this number changes? Well, it changes because it's got a link to that cell. So, don't hesitate to ask questions, president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, because between Bob and I, we pretty well hacked that thing out over the past 20 years to get it to where it is today, or as ugly as it looks today. So there's a rambling report, if you will. Picking up straws is what I'm in the midst of.
May I?
And if anybody else wants to send me suggestions for anything, TonyPedraza@gmail.com.
I think for the costs, we did have a dollar for dollar match. It was a vocal agreement that they've confirmed over 2 different years. So it was the year before COVID and the year of COVID. They confirmed we're getting this discount. It's a pretty big one. And they said, as I recall, that we would get an exact quote once we picked the meals. So if I think Grant was heading that committee, if he wants to pick the meals, we can forward this all to the hotel and get a price.
Yeah, I wanted to interject that why is Tony and I interested in that spreadsheet? And it's because we had a different way. He had a system on that spreadsheet that came up with a dollar value of where everything was at. I had another one worked out of the cash drawer. And in 2019 was the first time we were about a nickel apart. We had been, many dollars apart for years, and we finally tweaked it up to where we have just a nickel apart in 2019. Back to you, Jim.
Well, he's muted right now.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Um, so we've launched. If you go to tandylist.com now, um, I've launched the table registration and the actual individual registration. So, um, so we have that on there. Um, I can I can share my screen, or if someone else can, or gotta figure out how to do it. Yeah. Um, so, and I'm currently going through the refunds. I think there were 3 refunds, and I'm removing them. I'm attempting to. Um, it's right. Okay. Yeah, I'm launching my browser now. Actually, that's okay. I'm actually on the server on that screen, so I don't.
Who were they, Randy?
Brett Gordon, Ron Klein, and Terry Steege. If that's wrong, Tony, let me know. But I need to reshare this. I gotta minimize.
Broke it?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to. I've got a screen on a screen thing going here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead if you don't mind, and I can walk you through it through going to things. Yeah. So, and you're not sharing your screen right now, are you?
I see it.
Well, we see a screen.
Yeah, we see your
Oh,
business meeting agenda pushed off to the right.
Not
nothing but
seeing
black.
it.
Black screen.
It turned into a line. Yeah.
There's a blue line in the middle of the 2 black panels, it looks like.
Then we're back to the agenda. We're back to the agenda now. Going.
Yep.
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 Yeah.
No.
Nope.
For a second.
No.
No, we just saw it and then it went away.
What's the number for the help desk?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Big blue screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, yes.
Does it have to be in a certain monitor or something?
Okay.
Well, I've
So
taken
as you
care of
see-
the Ron Klein issues already. Just
What do you-
now.
What do you mean you've taken care of?
Made those 2 tables available.
Okay. So what I was talking about was the actual backend database where it recorded a payment, and I'm removing that part. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's important to remove the table as well. I guess.
Who were the other
Yeah.
2?
Brett Gordon
They're done.
and Terry Steege.
Steege. I don't see his name up there, so I think I already made his table available.
There's a gray window.
We have Terry Steen, and that's a different person.
Right. So, well, it's not really anything specific. I mean, it's just the same as last year, but we're people are able to register. You can click on, so you can register as an individual or register your table. There's obviously we have everyone from last year, unless they've contacted us to be removed. They're in the same places as they were. The map's there. The admin page allows Tony to go in there. I cleaned up the admin page. There were a few things we still had on there. And there's another thing. I don't think everybody knew this, but there is on the main screen you can see it says click here to see who's attending. And so when I looked at this, I was like, oh, I wonder how. But it looks like we allow people to give permission for us to show this. So this gives an individual list of people who are attending the show. But you don't have to give permission to be on that list. I mean, no, you do have to give permission for us to list you on that list. So that's right. If you click the click here to register for CocoFest, it'll immediately ask you for a login. So go ahead and log in, and now if you've got an email last year, you can click and look at your registration. Right now, it doesn't bring up your register. Like, I'm sure you're already registered. Right. But it does not recognize your old registration, so it doesn't bring it up. But that is something I could actually fix. And I was looking to do that. Right. And last year, we had just built all of this, and that wasn't a feature where you can actually go back and modify your registration. Um, but I think I can build that out real quick so that you can get in there and look at it, or at least look at it if you're already registered, and then we can do a manual fix. So we'll say if you need to change your registration, please contact us, and we'll put a link to a box allowing people to send us a note. Um, because it gets a little funny, because if you prepay, then we're going to need to, modify whatever you paid from PayPal, and so it gets a little funny. So I don't know if we're ready to deal with all that, but we can at least show them what their registration was. And like I
Point.
said, if they have an old email, the link in the email will actually bring them to their receipt, which is their registration. So if you found your old email, you could probably still click it, but that doesn't help most people because we're talking an email from over a year ago. So
Now,
Yeah, just as a small point on the people who are attending, Jim Brain or Retro Innovations does not come up at all.
he may have flagged himself as not being
Could be. Just pointing it out. That's all.
being public or whatever.
well, Jim, do you have a table? Because you're not on the table list either.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah, there it is. So I noticed I'm on the table list, but when I look at my current registration, where it says review your registration, that doesn't look right on my account.
No. That's not what that means. That means that goes to the next page of your registration, so that you can then pay
Oh,
for it.
I get it. Okay.
If you find,
Sure.
and I'd be serious, I'd be interested in knowing this. Eric, if you can find your old email that was sent when you registered last year, if you can click the link in it and see what it comes up, if it actually shows you your receipt. Um, yeah, and also I fixed John Mark. That was another update. So John Mark.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so that it'll automatically take them to the receipt. I think that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Randy, excuse me, Randy, how could we modify, or how could I modify the entrance for retro innovations and drop the slash with Bell?
Well, so you go to the so Tony, you go to the admin screen to do that. Don't, oh, that was the name that he put in. So he actually put that in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do that because he can't go
Okay.
back and modify his registration. But what do you want me to do? Just take the slash bell off?
Guest.
Okay. Sure.
Well, and this is interesting because the registration doc on the Glenside website is a .doc file, and this looks like a PDF.
Who owns what document?
It. This is a gray screen. Sorry, Jim. That's a gray. That's a
Yeah.
gray screen.
Where are you finding this? Because I thought I took care of all those dates. Maybe I did this. Yeah, I'm the one that's been doing it.
So okay, so where was the URL on that, Jim? Can you hover over that? Okay, so yeah, just whoever is responsible for that document,
That would be me.
send me a new PDF that's the 2021 in an
Well,
email, and I'll
Well,
update it.
we should probably put
Thank
that on
you.
the website. So if you guys want to send me the document, I'll send Randy a link to link to. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we've got a pre-registration for general admission and a registration for exhibitors and vendors. So I'll need both in a doc and PDF format, or at least a PDF.
Yes.
Randy, this is Bob Spoger. Did you take care of that profile? Delete a profile that was bad in that database. Last time I looked, it was still there.
No, I didn't get around to that. Sorry. What was that name again? You said it was J something?
It was John B, the letter B,
Oh, that's
and
right.
it's
The
screwed up.
B. So what was it? What was
Just
the first
above
name?
Burger. Just above Burger. Okay,
So
thank
what
you.
was the first name?
John.
John. John B. Heh. The singer.
Do we have an updated menu on that yet, Jim? Okay, awesome.
I do have a bit of an update on vaccines in Canada in case you guys want to hear that. So our first doses are past what we need. Like there's a couple of different stages. The first dose, second dose for getting the borders opened up, which they're negotiating, I think, this week. We're past where we're supposed to be in the first doses. Our second doses are quite a bit behind you guys. I think we're just nearing 20% on average in Canada. So we'll be well past that in time for the fest. So I'm not even worried about that at this point. One other thing that came up recently is that some Canadians that have gotten both vaccines and got permission to come down and attend, sporting events, stuff in the States. Currently, the States has not approved AstraZeneca. So 2 shots of that, which is fine here, fine in the UK, fine in most of Europe, is not accepted as a full vaccination at this point. I'm expecting that to change because I can't see the United States banning people from most of Europe, just for tourism by itself. So I'm pretty sure that'll get resolved fairly quickly here. But
Well, didn't
it's
the
currently
US
it is
ban
an
it
issue.
because of its side effects too? It wasn't.
Pardon me?
It wasn't. What we didn't ban it because it didn't work. We banned it because of the side effects.
Well, I mean, the side effects are just about as rare as the Pfizer Moderna
Right.
side effects with the enlarged heart stuff. So, I mean, it's.
Right. So I can't imagine. Like
I think
you
it's just
said,
bureaucracy working slow, to be honest.
Yeah.
I expect it'll be resolved fairly soon. I will guarantee, unless there's a variant that gets past every vaccine known to man, it will be open way before the fest, probably in the next month or two.
Jim Brain, uh, I have added to Logical and to Tandy List data a little code. In mine, it's the flag CV. So if it says CV2, they've gotten both their shots. CV0, they haven't gotten their shot at all. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm just thinking of keeping medical records in Tandy List. A little scary.
He just kind of vaguely said sometime in June.
Yeah, that's the last I heard too.
That's pretty.
Well, he ended up being busy too, so he's got a Tim and Robert Allen Murphy are both helping with, let's just say, the news sections, and as you mentioned, not all the officer stuff is in yet either. So and even if you miss the deadline by a few days, he'll use it in the next newsletter, so it's not a waste. So do it anyway. Yeah, pretty much.
Do we want to
our,
put Tandy List? Do we want to put a link to the registration for Cocoa Fest in the newsletter? Okay. Okay.
my wife took a trip to where it all started, the Glenside library, and he says he's going to put that in the newsletter cover page. And I also sent it to Eric, and the idea being that eventually we can have a history of the beginning, because there's so many new people, if you will, that just don't know our history and should know it.
Well, complimenting BBSs.
Yeah, it does. It does give guidance to the new officers as they come aboard. They've got something to go back to see why we're at where we're at and what we're doing in the whole bit. Guidance. Go ahead,
And
Jim.
Sure, Bob. It's on the website now too. If you guys go to About Us, it'll be at the top. Yep.
As I said, that was compliments of my wife. She went and photographed it, and I sent it to both people I mentioned. So she did a good job.
Yeah. Bob, do you need credit for that photo? We could put your name or your wife's name on that photo.
Well, somebody had asked me, and I gave this out, but once again, my wife took the trip. So she's the photographer, and I put it through paint to take a stop sign out of it. And there, when you see it, it's kind of cleaned up and nice looking.
And how do you spell your wife's name then?
Annette, Annette. I
I'll make
always
sure
have fun with that when somebody's telling me they're sending something up on the net.
No.
I'll make sure to get that credited on my end.
Huh.
Yep. I'll ping him.
Lonnie?
Lonnie Falk.
Yeah.
Lonnie Hall?
Oh, I'm here. Okay. I worked at the same company with Chris Hawks, and Chris Hawks invited me to the meeting, and I started coming. And I owned a Coco when I was in college, and guess I was feeling some nostalgia for the Coco. I've been coming to the meetings, and I somehow volunteered to become the newsletter editor, even though I can't spell. Luckily, my wife can spell, and my wife and I worked on the newsletter. And Bob, I had a shared drive with Bob Swoger, and so Bob Swoger would pick up the newsletter and work on it himself. And then we got Salvador in there too, and three of us were doing it. Salvador started out mainly checking the spelling and checking the grammar. Anyway, been doing that, and then I got elected vice president 1 year, and then Terry got it the second year, and just fell back to me when Terry resigned. So
I'd like to remind John that he was very heavily involved in the first, I believe it was 2010 release of Logic Coco or Logic Call, whatever you want to call it. He handled the move function, format, the ability to have the thing on drive wire or not, and run smoothly, realizing what it was running on. So he was heavy into many of the changes we had to make from Sinclair over to Coco. Back to you, John Mark.
okay, and I took Bob Swoger's database program and put it into VirtualBox, I believe it's called, and got it to run as a DOS application, and shared that with Randy, and Randy was able to take that and put it into a SQL database. Yes.
I'd like to see Eric. Yeah, it would have to be Eric. Update the next meeting date on the website. Kind of be sure to do that. So that means that the last thing we need to do is for the president to establish what that date is. We have them up there, but now and then we have to make changes because of holidays and so on. So at the end of the meeting, Eric should know what it is. That way he can have it up there, and for a whole month we can just go to the website and see when the next meeting is. Back to you, Jim.
Well, the meetings are published in the calendar, and I believe John Mark updates the calendar. But yeah, the meeting is in the calendar.
Well, though it is, we like to go to the web page and see it right there on the first page.
On the first page, those posts get posted by Jim. Although, I mean, there's nothing that would stop me from doing it as well. And I've reached out to let him know, and anyone else know that we could post stuff about that. I think we just hadn't posted it yet, because we wanted to, yeah, I think the main thing is that we don't have an agenda until usually about the week prior. So making a post about it is like there's nothing to say. I mean, but yeah,
Well, just to note the date.
right. But that's yeah, yeah. That might be like a little mini calendar, maybe a notice instead of a calendar. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But there
Yeah.
might be other events that are similar to the meeting. So I'll think it over. Yeah, I'll think it over how we can get that done.
Excellent.
You were talking about the name of the restaurant at the hotel. I looked it up.
Zoom in and then walk. Kick the kids.
Yeah, Stevie played that game and he lost a life. No, sorry, it was a knee, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be cold in November, so you'll definitely want to consider the hotel room.
Yeah. Plus, Cocoa Fest in the years past, I mean, like back in Elgin and stuff there, that was the same situation there. The restaurant was always in the hotel.
Jim, I have my wife socializes around this area, and she's got two things that we got to point out. She, for instance, had a birthday party today for a bunch of her girlfriends, and they came to realize that a popular eating place called the Savoy raised their prices $15 per head, so that the cheapest item on the menu went up to $29 from $15. The other problem we've had through past years that we'd like you to carry to the inn is a couple of years they had one waitress for the whole 50 people that showed up. One waitress. And we had people walking out and going to another location to eat after an hour of waiting. So please tell them we're sensitive to being understaffed for our waitresses. Back to you, Jim.
May I say something? Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, hello, everyone. Another thing that I like about the new venue is that it has special loading doors that are right there at the exhibition space. So people will not have to park their car somewhere strange and then get everything off and then cart it around. They can just pull up right to the loading doors and unload there, and they're inside. So that's something that I like about that.
Yeah. But you got your own your it's hard. Yeah, and we're gonna be okay. And you're gonna be the fighters. It's all together.
I do have one question, Jim. Will we be having Cocoa Fest for 2022 in April next year? Is that the plan?
Can I say something too? The shuttle, the hotel offers a shuttle, and I'm sure. It may not work during COVID, but I'm sure they'll have it working by November. So if you guys fly in or taxi in, the shuttle service offered by the hotel can get you to Portillo's. Yep. Yep.
I
Anywhere
can
within
vouch.
5 minutes.
I've used it and it works wonderful.
And Portillo's is definitely they definitely understand big crowds, and 50 people won't be an issue for them.
It's terrible if you're on a diet, though.
I so move.
And I second.
Aye.
Aye.
Portillo's.
Nope.
Hey, Jim, when you get that information, just reach out to me either through email or call me, and we'll discuss the food and everything with Tony. Thank you.
On the subject of food, the first decision you have to make is whether it's buffet style or plated.
Well,
Okay.
well, no. The menu offers both plated or buffet. You choose. Last year we had decided to go with a buffet. I think there was like 3 dishes we decided on. You guys are certainly welcome to change it up. I don't remember if I'm on that committee or not. But
Well, the thing is that if you choose plated, you need to find out ahead of time who wants which orders, so that gets a lot more.
Plated wasn't really an option. Buffet was a much better option for our club.
Yeah.
And you want to order for our club, you want to order extra plates than what we expect because people eat a lot in our club.
Yes.
Sorry for you. I would be worried about you too.
Good night, everyone.
Bob,
All right, good night, guys.
See ya.
Later, all.
Bob, coming to you with the restaurant. The restaurant is very good, so I think they'll be expecting a large group, for Cocoa Fest.